Here we go. D1 Fuel. We got on the podcast with us Mr. Brandon Zylstra. Brandon, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
excited.
I'm excited. I think the kids are going to get some good stuff from you today. So, to start, your name's Brandon Zylstra. What sport did you play?
Played football for the last 7 years professionally. Was
Okay.
lucky enough to play with old QB1 over here, James Franklin, back in our Canada days.
What position?
Receiver.
Receiver. Okay. Okay. So, how tall are you?
6'3", 205-ish, give or take.
Oh, all right. 60. And you've always been like since high school, since middle school? How long have you been that
Uh,
tall?
yeah, I was always a receiver. Probably since my freshman year. I used to be a running back linebacker. And then I would just watch Randy Moss from Minnesota. Would watch Randy Moss on the daily. And just between him and Chris Carter doing one-handed catches or toe taps on the sideline, I thought I saw my body going towards the more tall, skinny, slender, and I was just like, that looks way cooler to me, and probably don't have to take as many shots running at running back. So I was like, I think I'm gonna make the switch.
I like it. Okay. So that was in high school. Did you play in college, I'm assuming?
College, we went to Augustana, which is Augustana in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is a smaller D2 school. Ended up transferring over to Concordia Moorhead, which is a Division III school. Ended up transferring over there. I had a bunch of friends over there. My brother played over there. Knew the coaches, so I knew it was going to be a pretty easy transition for me. And I mean, ultimately just wanted to play. I didn't really care where it was at that point.
Yeah.
I was sick of sitting and just wanted to get back out on that field. So, yep, made
Okay.
the transition over to Concordia.
So, and obviously this was before all the new transfer rules and stuff. Did you have to sit a year?
I did not, and that was another reason for my decision to go down from D2 to D3. Was I just avoided any kind of penalty at that essentially because transferring down, they don't really care. Transferring up or within the same conference division is where there was rules, and like I said, ultimately it came down to me being impatient and I just wanted to play, and so I didn't care. Just get me out of school.
Okay. And so originally when you first went, did you get a scholarship or were you a walk on?
I was technically a scholarship player at Augustana, but they made a little package for me. It wasn't like a true scholarship. But yes, did receive money when I transferred over to Concordia. Was Division III. As many of you guys probably know, Division III doesn't give out scholarships, so was on my own for that one. But at the Division III level, what I was also able to take advantage of is being that it was Division III. There's not that as much involved, whether it's lifting and all that workouts and whatnot. I was actually able to be a two-sport athlete, so I competed in track for 2 years as well.
Oh, what'd you do in track?
I was a high jumper and a long jumper. As long as I
You
didn't have
got
to
the
run too much.
spring.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
See, now
I
it's
got
starting to make
that.
sense. All those catches I threw up to you and you jump up. Okay. That makes sense now. Um, okay, so when you were wanting, obviously you're in high school, you're wanting to play in college. How did you end up finding well, I guess I know eventually you said your friends at Concordia, but or
Augustana was the first one.
Augustana, sorry. Yes. So how did you end up there? Is it coaches wanted you or what?
Yeah, my goal was always Division I. I always wanted Division I scholarship. That was always the top of my goal list. As my senior year came around, didn't have any attraction kind of anywhere. A few Division III schools, and then my senior year is when a bunch of division schools started reaching out. And back in Minnesota, we have University of Minnesota Gophers, and that's about it for Division I. And I always talked about getting away, going somewhere south and whatnot, but ultimately, I don't know if I was actually scared or what, but didn't end up making it and end up making it out of the state. Augustana, they come off a previous year of going super far in the Division II playoffs. They had really nice facilities, very small school feel, which I was used to growing up in Spicer, Minnesota. So like to me, it just kind of felt like everything fit. The guy that was recruiting me was from the area, so we were able to relate on a bunch of stuff. It just felt like a pretty comfortable transition for me to go from small school New London Spicer to Augustana, and then the transition from Augustana to Concordia is relatively the same, both private small schools. So that was again a pretty easy transition.
Okay, so kind of along those lines, what was from high school to college? What was one of the hardest things about playing in college for you? And that could be in school, that could be in football, relationships.
I would say as far as like managing schoolwork, I was, I don't know, probably your typical jock at school and back at high school, and did the bare minimum to kind of get by. I was never super motivated to do well. I was more, to me, it was always more important about being around my friends and excelling in my sports. Didn't realize how important schooling was until I got a little bit older. You start talking to colleges and they see your grade point average and they're just like, you have all the talent and, you have the skill set and whatnot, but like, you got to get your grades up. And once I heard that from more than one coach is when I tried to lock in a little bit, but at the same time, studying is new to me, was new to me. And so like, I would say when I got to college, actually being on your own, nobody else there to move you along. I would say I struggled to find that balance of school, social life and, football.
Yeah.
And it probably wasn't until like my second year in college when I finally started to figure it out. At that point, I got out of a lot of the general classes, got into the major a little bit more. Things were a little bit more exciting, and then ended up starting to do much better as the years went on. But the first year or two was pretty rough.
Yeah. Okay. So now, after college, did you play pro?
After college, we wanted to play pro. Had no idea how. Had no agents, no friends that made it or anything. So it was just me and a friend, just literally just trying to figure it out. Moved down to Arizona. That's when I started looking into the CFL. Found a bunch of their workouts, their tryouts, went to a bunch of those.
Wait, what's the CFL?
CFL is the Canadian Football League. That's where I met your boy James Franklin.
Hey.
Uh, yeah, ended up going up to the CFL. Played 2 years up there. Played the most fun football of my life. It's to this day the most fun football I've played. Whenever I constantly have guys reaching out to me asking what they can do, advance their game, other options and whatnot. And I always tell them, if you have the ability to play in the NFL or the CFL, if you have the want to, the desire, I was like, the talent up there is super underrated. The offense is made, or the game is made for offenses to, succeed, be high scoring, good games, like interesting to watch for people. And I was just like, it's just a whole new experience. And yeah, again, I recommend it to anybody. I had so much fun up there.
Yeah, that's cool. And then so 2 years there, and then what happened after that?
After that, we got what the dream, the plan always was to make it down to the NFL. So ended up from my film that I made in the CFL, started to, because that was the biggest thing from coaches, talking to coaches in college is, yeah, you look good, you have good stats and whatnot, but you're playing a bunch of Division III schools, like your competition isn't there. And so like everybody kind of wanted me to go prove myself first. And that was a good step for me of going to the CFL, playing against professional athletes, living a professional life, learning how to talk to media, take care of yourself, just, learn about more of the game and whatnot. And then that film was able to translate over. They liked that. I was able to fill up a little list of workouts and ended up actually playing for my hometown team, the Minnesota Vikings, the team I grew up watching. So like for everything to come full circle like that. And obviously it wasn't the path I originally had envisioned in my mind. I still made it, back to Minnesota. I was in the same locker rooms as Randy Moss and Chris Carter, the guys I grew up watching. So pretty surreal moment. But at that time I'm 25. I'm so stuck in the moment that, and I always told myself I was going to do this afterward, is, kind of reflecting on your career and whatnot. But like while I was actually there, yes, I was proud. Yes, it was cool. But I think everybody around me, my supporting circle, was more excited than I was, because I just always saw, you made it, now you got to stay. And, now you got to stay. That's the hard part of actually getting I always heard getting to the NFL is easy. Staying in the NFL is hard, or making it in the NFL is hard. And So I never really took time to celebrate too much because if you do that, somebody else is working and they're going to pass you. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty cool after my career to kind of go back and reflect on a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And for those of you listening, my boy BZ here, Brandon, is an extremely hard worker. So he'll talk on that a little bit here, but extremely hard worker. All right, Brandon. So when did you start playing football? How old were you?
Starting playing football. I mean, tackle football for us was fifth and sixth grade
Okay.
back in Minnesota. But I was always the guy that I was the leader at the playground. I was the captain. I'm picking teams. I want to be quarterback. I want to be receiver. I'm going to guard your best player. That's where the passion started.
Okay.
Sorry, you there?
Yeah.
I had the whole screen went out
No,
for a
no, no,
second.
you're good.
Um, yeah, so fifth and sixth grade was tackle football. I would say the love actually started probably around kindergarten. Story I like to tell is it was for my senior year graduation. Mom and dad are laying out all our old pictures and all this and that, and they come across this one little photo, and it's draw what you want to be when you're older. And I drew myself in a Viking jersey, in kindergarten. So I was manifesting it for a long time now.
That's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. But how many sports did you play as a kid growing up?
I was always very active in sports. I started off baseball, basketball, track, football, wrestling, big wrestler for a while. Then
Whoa.
again, kind of like with football, I saw where my body was going,
Yeah.
and whatnot, and I figured basketball might be a little bit more suitable for me. But was also an avid water skier, competed in that in the summers. Obviously not really school related, but that was a big thing for me growing up, super important, and I felt like taught me a ton. So I can't forget to mention that. But the main sports were definitely basketball, football, track.
What made you choose football over basketball and track?
Football, I always just had a deeper love for it, a deeper desire. I went through basketball phases when I was younger. I mean, I was just like any kid, and whatever season it was, that was my favorite sport. And for many years, it was basketball. But I don't know, just as years kind of went on, I just found myself naturally liking football more. I never missed a game on Sundays watching the Vikings. Like I said, like that's all we ever did at school during recess or after school. Was always football. That's where I always came home to. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And what was your primary number?
Man, I've never had a primary number. I've never been a number guy. Never been like when I was young. I always thought 15 was super cool. My girlfriend had it at the time. Wanted to be like my girlfriend. I don't know. So I had 15 in high school. I had 15 with the Vikings, and otherwise I've been 13 with Detroit, 16 with Carolina, 83 with Edmonton, 6 with college. I've been just about everywhere.
Okay.
Numbers were too important to me. I was always like, I'm gonna make the number. The number's not gonna make me type
Yeah.
of thing.
No, I like that. Okay. Um, Now in your time, high school, college, professionally, um, I'm assuming there's some coaches that you like, some coaches that you didn't like. So if you could, first let's go with the positive traits, the things that you liked. Um, you don't have to call anyone in specific, but with a coach that you did have a coach that you liked growing up, right? Or multiple. Okay. So
Absolutely.
in in those coaches, what are some things that you liked about them? What are some traits that they had?
Um, I'm specifically thinking of Matt Cordis, Coach Cordis. He was my basketball coach. We ended up winning a state title with him my junior year. But just the way he presented his stuff. He was never a guy that's gonna get super hard on you and dog you down. Very religious, very just very good at his communication skills were different, and he was very good at individualizing. He knew James Franklin, I need to talk to you like this, and I need to talk to Brandon. He's wired a little bit different, so I need to talk to him like this. But he was just very, very, very good at making people know their role, getting people to believe in one each other, understanding your role. knowing the importance of that you play, whether it was, our starting center, or if it was, the 12th guy on the bench, he would talk to the 12th guy,
Yeah.
tune to how they needed to for them to succeed. But like, and it wasn't just telling that 12th man, like, hey, you're still important. It would be in front of the entire team. Like, our starting center isn't getting better without this guy busting his tail in practice and, getting this guy. So like a lot of the starters reap all the glory. All these guys get all the, hard work, but he was just really good at putting a lot of that into perspective. And like I said, just making people believe in themselves, believe in the mission. And I mean, clearly it worked. He had 2 state titles in 2 years, and ended up leaving me my senior year. I was pretty salty, but still keep in contact to him to this day. Very, very positive person in my life.
Okay. What about some coaches you encountered that you didn't like? What were some traits that they had?
Um, Stuff I didn't like. I was never a guy that I don't care for somebody to yell at me. I understand emotions can get heated in certain situations, and so I always took everything with a grain of salt. But I'm a type of guy that you just have to talk to me and tell me what I did wrong, or tell me what I need to improve on, and like, let's talk through it. Yelling at me is just, you're making other people mad, and your emotions obviously get a little high. So
Yeah.
like, I always related best with the coaches that would just talk to me like a man, just tell me how it is. And even if it was something that was super ugly that I didn't want to hear, Brandon, you're going to sit this game or something, but like, tell me so I understand exactly what's going on, so I can get my, mentals right as well. But
Yeah.
definitely the communication thing. And that's why I think Coach Cordis was one of my more favorite coaches, is just the communication is so key in coaching.
So playing a little bit off that, how did you handle? There's a lot of, some of these younger athletes that are listening now. They might have a coach they feel like is not on their side, and every athlete. I mean, if you play for just a few years, you'll find yourself feeling like a coach isn't on your side. How did you handle that?
I would say one of the big things, and this is something that I kind of took with me, it went more than just football. It kind of resonates with everything in life, but it's just trying to take more responsibility of everything. So like, it's so easy to say, and I know I've said it a million times too. Every athlete that's ever played has is, I'm not playing because this coach doesn't like me, or like, I'm not doing this because this coach hates me and whatnot. And like, as I got older and more mature about situations and whatnot, I'm like, okay, what doesn't he like? Like, what does he like? He likes guys that talk a lot. Okay, cool. I'm not a big talker, so maybe that's, one of the reasons. Or he likes guys that bust their tail in practice, and these guys aren't busting their tail, and that's why they're not playing. But like, just understanding what they're seeing, understanding what you're doing, and like try to take you out of the situation and be like, if you were just another player, you know, like, how are you represented to the team? How are you represented to the receiver groups? Um, it's just, there's so much out of our control kind of in that.
Yeah.
And so like, it just, to me, I'm going to keep saying it, I guess, because it keeps coming up, but just having communication. I've sat down with many coaches that I didn't see eye to eye with. I would tell them, I just shoot it to me straight. I don't care if it's tough to hear, but like, that's how I work best. That's how I'm coached best. I just need to know what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right, and then we'll build from there.
Yeah.
Uh, so I would say just having communication with your coaches, and if you're somebody that does well when somebody's constantly ragging on you and hot headed and whatnot, and if you like that, tell your coach that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just the more communication you have, the better your situation is going to be.
Okay. Well, I mean, it kind of ties into the next question. You're saying like trying to figure that out with your coach. You've had some setbacks or failures or adversity that you've had to deal with. I mean, you took a path to where you end up going to Canada, playing the CFL for 2 years, and then how long did you play in the NFL? For 5?
5 years,
Yeah.
yep.
So, your path was a lot different than, most people. It's like, oh, go Division 1 and then, get drafted high and play in the NFL for football. So how did you overcome some of your adversity? I mean, how did you learn how to overcome that? Obviously, I know you've talked about already having a good attitude. Um, and I mean, you've had to have the right mindset and work ethic, but what do you think was one of the most important things for you to learn, each challenge or each piece of adversity that you faced?
Um, Great question. Something that I, just thinking about the question as you're asking it was like, first thing that came to mind is like, there's a different, there's like a different learning experience in everything that goes on, good or bad. And as I got older and older, just started to realize that all the different lessons in life that there are and trying to take everything. So like, I competed in track in college. Was really successful up until the last meet, made it out to nationals and ended up no hiding. And like, obviously a lot of emotions came with that, but like just trying to break that down, like what happened, what can I learn from this? And so like different situations like that, like me transferring, for instance, like that taught me a great deal of patience. So that's something that I reflect on all the time now. It's just like, do I need to go make the decision now, or if I wait a little bit and be patient with it, what good can come from it? So like, I feel like I've been really good over the years at just when different situations arise, good and bad, of like just reflecting on the situation almost, and like why is this happening, or is this happening the way I thought it? Like what actions did I do or partake in that made it go, one way versus another?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that was a great
Yeah.
answer, but that was
No, no,
kind of
no. That's,
what came to
hey, there's
mind.
no bad or wrong answer. This is just you getting your experience and opinion. So, all right, a little bit more on I don't say happier topic, but what was one of your favorite memories in high school?
High school, winning a state championship. So my junior year, first of all, my brother's class, he was a senior, I was a junior. His senior class was just unbelievably loaded with athletes. They had height, they had speed, they had size. It was crazy. With the best like whole athletic group that I think ever go through our school, and I will argue with anybody for that. But I got to ride his coattails along to a football state championship. We went undefeated. So it was pretty cool to like embrace him after that. And then right into football, we went right into basketball. We had our first game with I think we had two practices underneath us, and ended up cruising through that season too. I think we only finished with, I don't know, one or two losses on the year, and ended up winning the state championship in that too. So to be able to play with my oldest brother, side by side for this two state championships, it was the first football one from our school, and it was the second basketball one. But to do that by his side with a bunch of his friends and teammates, and obviously a few of mine too, that was pretty hard to top.
Okay. What about in college? Favorite memory from college?
Favorite memory in college. Uh, I mean, probably all the bus rides. D3, we had 4 hour bus rides to most of our games. Most of our games were in the cities, were way north Canada. And offensive, defensive bus. A lot of my friends were on the offensive side, and we'd sit in the back and just do nonsense, play card games, make up games. It's just guys being dudes in the back of a bus. Like
Yeah, that's like the
that
number one
was
thing everyone has been saying is like the traveling, the trips, the airplane, the bus rides. Yeah, that's
yeah, and I mean, because obviously the football's fun. The football is what it is, but like, I don't know, those bus rides and stuff. Like, and I probably couldn't even tell you many details of any of them, but I just know
yeah,
that we laughed the entire way, like win or lose. Like we always made sure we had a good time.
yeah. Okay, that's cool. What about professionally?
Professionally, playing with my brother my last year. So that's one of the reasons why I was cool with retiring. I played till I was 30 years old. I retired in January of 2023 with the Lions. But that's so my youngest brother or younger brother is a tight end for Detroit. I got cut from Carolina, took a few weeks off to try to rehab a little bit, was dealing with an injury, and then started getting back on the workout train. Detroit called me in they were super thin at receiver, and ended up signing with them. So to be able to suit up next to my brother, go to meetings with my brother, obviously playing football, I have a much different schedule than the rest of my family. So the fact that I was lining up with his schedule and I can go over to his house and play with his kids and, see his wife, have dinners with them, say after practice throw, like we used to always do. I got to do that with my brother now. And after doing that for the year, I was like, there's really not a whole lot that's going to top this. The only thing that tops this is a Super Bowl. I don't need to chase a Super Bowl. So at that point, I was like, my career is kind of complete at that point. I've done a lot of cool things throughout my career, had a lot of cool experiences, but that was definitely the top.
That's awesome, man. That's cool to hear. All right, now if you could go back in time, being a kid, and you had to pick a different sport, knowing everything that you know now, what sport would you pick?
And I'm trying to play professional.
Just knowing everything you know now, you just can't pick football. You got to pick a different
Man.
sport.
Well, you know what? I was thinking of the money right away, and I was just like, yes, I would for sure be throwing a baseball around and whatnot. But I have to say, I wish I would have picked up golf sooner.
Mm,
I am a huge golf fan now. I haven't played that much. My body's kind of limited right now. Um, but I can watch golf from Thursday to Sunday and not get off the couch, and I wouldn't feel twice about it. I can't get enough of the sport. I think it's super cool. Obviously love being out there. You get to be outside. It's quiet. It's usually, I mean, it's always a good time, no matter who
yeah.
you go with, whether it's randoms or and just there's not a whole lot like just flushing a pure iron. There's not a whole lot of great feelings out there. It's the same thing. Whoosh,
Yes.
blasted.
Okay. All right. Now a little focused on youth. I know, so we had 10 minutes left. Do you think that youth athletes should be in a serious relationship? So when I say youth, I'm talking like high school, middle school.
Be in a serious relationship, I mean, I personally don't see a problem with it. I think everybody's different, everybody's life's different, so it comes down to balance. If you can balance that, a good social life with other people, because I think that gets in the way of some people where they get too infatuated with their significant
Yeah.
other, and they lose a lot of touch with friends and family or whatever, maybe don't go out as much, hang out with other people. So I think it's important to keep that, the relationship with all your other friends. But I mean, as far as having a serious relationship, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Okay. I like it. Now, what's a piece of advice that you would give to youth athletes now, just in general? Doesn't have to be what you think is the most important, just a piece of advice.
I'm going to go kind of based off of my experiences. I kind of talked about patience before, but well, I'm going to say two things: patience and ownership. Take ownership of where you're at and what you're doing, and your role with the team or your development with the team. Understand you are where you are because of the stuff you have done. Everything's kind of a result of things you've done, and I think it's important for people to, because there's always a lot of people in all over the place, throwing their 2 cents at you and whatnot. And it can be a lot to try to juggle your own thoughts and somebody else's thoughts. And, are they right? Am I right? But really sit down, reflect on yourself. What are you doing? What are you not doing? What is the team looking for? How can you fit into that team, or how can you excel within, a certain role?
Yeah.
I think more youth need to, well, I think it would be healthy if more youth had a little bit more ownership, and then just having the patience to wait it out and not hit the transfer portal, after
Yeah.
or whatever.
No, that's good. Okay, so a kid that wants to play in college, they might have some interests, they might have some scholarship, some walk on. What would you tell a kid who's trying to decide which college to go to?
And he has offers already, or he
Yeah,
doesn't have
so it
any.
could be a mix. They could have offers. It could be, a preferred walk on, anything.
I would say, again, I'm gonna say off my experiences. I wish I would have put myself out there more. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know about highlight tapes. I didn't know about going to camps. But I mean, it's really kind of a numbers game for scouts, as I've seen as the years have went on. Just getting, like, if you really want to go to a school, start annoying them. Start sending emails, phone calls, do whatever you got to do. Talk to players on that team. But like, just not being afraid to really put yourself out there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Now, I asked a piece of advice for youth athletes. This one specifically, what do you think the most important thing to do is for a young football player?
The most important thing to do for a young football player. That's tough.
Yeah,
Obviously
that's a
with
tough question.
football being one of the most dynamic games, but something that's going to translate in football and it's going to translate in every other sport and your life as well is just work on like your leadership skills, work on your teamwork skills, because that's something that like I mean, it's hard to pick just one thing that's going to help you with football. So I feel like something like that is well more versed and well rounded. That's
Yeah.
going to carry and contribute. And I mean, it's obviously going to help you a ton in football. It's 11 guys. You have to get 11 guys in sync. Personally, I think it's one of the hardest sports to, for a big play to happen. You need 11 guys doing 11 things right, essentially. So
Yeah. Okay.
working on like your teamwork and leadership skills and making sure everybody's on the same page.
Oh, I like that answer. All right. Now, quickly moving down to the next section. It's called Key Questions. The first one, what advice would you give parents who are wanting to raise a superstar?
Let them pick their sport. Like obviously pushing and encouraging I think is great, but I think it's important to push their dreams, not your own dreams on people. I just have seen that a lot, and I don't have any kids yet, so I can't speak from personal experience, but
But you
let,
were
let
a kid.
I am a kid. I'm
No,
a kid still.
no, you were. You were a kid.
It's calling me a kid. I was like, I
No,
still
no,
I still
no, no.
um
Psychosis.
yes, that.
Okay.
Yeah, just encouraging the kid without pushing them. Like let them lead the charge, and obviously by all means you pat them on the back and do what you got to do, and obviously you can still push them, but like let them have the passion, let them be fueled
Yeah.
by passion.
Okay. Second one, would you recommend playing multiple sports?
Absolutely. I think I was listening to NFL Network today on my way home from the gym, and Will Golston was talking about how he does Pilates and yoga and jujitsu and whatever else now. And I'm just, it ties into your exact question. Like the guys at the highest sports aren't just doing their sport. Like that doesn't, it sounds cool. It looks cool maybe on Instagram and stuff, but like being well versed in other sports is going to give you so much more knowledge and whatnot, whether it's in spacing, whether it's, shuffling your feet, lateral quickness, like all the other sports are going to help you in football.
Yeah, no, that's true. Okay, third one. Do you think youth athletes should have, if possible, some kind of meal plan or diet that they stick to?
I think being conscious of your diet is definitely going to help a lot. Being, people always talk about fruits and veggies, this and that. Like for me, it's just like the most whole foods you can get. Like if you can pluck it from the ground or pull it from a tree or something like that, that's obviously a way better thing than ripping something out of a package.
Yeah.
So I just think it's very important to get as much whole foods as you can and just try to limit that processed foods, because it might not affect you now. It's going to affect you in, 5, 10, 15, 20 years or whatever. So like getting ahead of that now and honestly not knowing any better later in future, I think would be huge to somebody's overall health.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a smart man. All right, now our last little section, rapid fire questions. I'm
Bring it
just gonna
on.
give you two options. Give me your answer. Okay. Grape or purple?
Uh, Great.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan.
Simone Biles or Olivia Dunn?
Simone Biles. Come on now.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Early riser or night owl?
Whew, I'm a both. Early riser.
Dreamer or realistic?
Realistic.
Greatest athlete of all time in any sport?
I have to go MJ. I just think his dominance is crazy.
Lululemon or Nike?
James is a big Lulu guy. I go Lulu. I go Lulu.
Let's go. Toilet paper over or under?
I don't know. I think I'm an over guy.
Deep dish or thin crust?
Thin crust by far.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady?
I'm going Tom right now.
McDonald's or Wendy's French fries?
McDonald's.
Savory or fruity?
Savory.
Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Dogs or cats?
I want to get a cat. Been talking about it. I want to get a cat.
Tacos or burgers?
Ah, taco. No, burgers.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Venus or Serena Williams?
Serena.
Camping or glamping?
I want to go glamping.
Super, superhero or super villain?
Superhero. Come on now.
All right, just making sure, man. All right, Brandon. Well, that's it. It means a lot you came on here. I know some kids listening. You gave definitely some good pieces of advice, and hopefully they can learn something from you.
Absolutely. That was
Yeah.
fun to come back on. Fun to see you again.
Yeah, man. It's been awesome. It's good to catch up. And for those of you listening, that's your fuel for thought, and we'll see you next time.